Hey everybody, welcome to the Cheerful Ghost Roundtable. The Cheerful Ghost Roundtable is an open discussion with people from the Cheerful Ghost community about awesome stuff in video games, brought to you by cheerfulghost.com. As you guys know, we haven't had a roundtable episode in a little bit now. Well, you know, it's been our intention to do that. It's just been life event after life event, from sickness to hospitals. It's been interesting. So I'm really glad that we're able to come back with this one. And as you can see, Travis is out for this one. I'm not gonna say that it's related to robots, but it's related to robots. And I'll, you know, if he wants to explain that a little bit better, I'll let him. But it absolutely is related to robots. So,
And it may or may not involve robots possibly stabbing people.
exactly that. I am a little
May
unclear
or may
about.
not.
Yeah. I'm totally unclear on that one. So we usually open things up. I know it's been a while, so everyone's probably like, "What's happening? What do you talk about?" Yeah, we talk about bike news and information about skateboarding. So no, I'm just kidding. So the
And
first
kites.
and kiting. It's really good. Summer's coming up. You got to get your bike news in. But we should talk first about what we've been playing, and we will talk about that. But one thing I wanted to start off with White Boy Slim was talking a little bit, and having to talk about it, was something that we've been doing recently on the site called the Cheerful Ghost Games Club. Take it away, White Boy Slim.
All right, so this is something we've kind of kicked around in our discussions before about, basically as a group playing through a game together, kind of like a book club but with games. And a little while back, there was the Star Wars Humble Bundle, and me and John both picked it up, and he was telling me that he had never played Knights of the Old Republic before. So I was like, all right, well, while you play through it, I'll play through it too, and we can discuss and chat about it. And so we were, kind of thinking about it, and I decided, you know what, I think I'm just going to bring it up to the Cheerful Ghost group, make an event out of it, try and get more people involved. And it actually has turned out to be a pretty big success. I've been very pleasantly surprised. The first Games Club took place probably for about like a month and a half. Knights of the Old Republic is kind of a long game, so it took us a while to get through it. But since then, we've also opened it up to, we have an event ongoing right now with Guild Wars 2. That one went up for sale a couple weekends, and a bunch of us from the community have bought it, and so we've been playing it together and using the game.
And it went up for sale a second time, so like a second wave of people could get it too, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, and so we've had a lot of people join up and been playing together. And we're also currently going through Half-Life 2. That's actually my first time playing the game, so it's been pretty interesting, and I've enjoyed seeing everybody talking about it. Seems like I might be the only one who hasn't played it yet, but it's still cool. And it also corresponded with the HD update that just came out, so that was perfect timing.
Yeah, so I think that's been going really well, and I'm really excited what we're going to be playing next. I have a ton of ideas, but I don't want to run like 10 different clubs at the time on this. I don't know, I just couldn't do all of them. So, but yeah, it's been really great. So let's get into talk a little bit about what we're playing and what we're drinking. Starting over with Master Scripts. What you drinking, Script, and what have you been playing?
I am water. Sticking with water. It's very hot down here lately, so gotta stay hydrated. And as far as what I've been playing, I know it's been a while since we've talked, but just in the past week or two, I've been trying to touch bases with like a bunch of different games that I've been wanting, that I've had for a while. A few of the most prominent ones, Consortium on Steam. Really, really cool first-person adventure game. It is. I don't know what I think what it is, but it's got this retro feel to it. You could almost pretend that it's cel-shaded, even though it's not. But it's not like the absolute prettiest game. Very fun to play though. Very good mystery, and it's got a lot of replayability. And it was a successful Kickstarter campaign that they were kind of unsure if they were going to do the second one. Well, they announced recently that they're putting the second game together. It's supposed to be a trilogy, so really looking forward to that. I've been playing Guild Wars 2 and Half-Life 2 with these guys in the book club or game club, and started playing Prison Architect.
Oh yeah, that game's great. I love that game.
I didn't get too much further than the intro.
Oh yeah, the intro is really wow. Yeah.
It's brutal. It's really brutal. I did not expect that.
Yeah, it's great.
Seems really cool though. I'm anxious to play more of that. And then Eldritch is a first-person blocky adventure mystery game roguelike that's really fun. And then the last one is Titan Souls that just came out a couple days ago or yesterday even. I think it's being compared to like a Shadow of the Colossus or Demon Souls, Dark Souls mixed with like Zelda, and it's been getting fairly good reviews. I'm enjoying it so far. It's really pretty and music's really good, and the boss fights. It's like Shadow of Colossus in that it's all boss fights. You don't fight any mobs throughout the game except for the bosses, and you have one weapon. You have a bow and arrow that shoots one arrow, and so you have to retrieve your arrow in order to fire it again. But the cool thing is that if you shoot it, you can hold down the fire button and it sucks it back to you, and you can actually do damage on the return, like when you're sucking it into you. So you can. It's challenging and it's hard. Yeah. I mean, it's really hard, but it's fun. I'm enjoying it a lot. Actually, highly recommend it.
Oh, that sounds great. That sounds great. Yeah, I've heard a lot of things about Titan Souls. People have been emailing me and texting me and like, "Have you played Titan Souls yet?" And I'm like, "No, I haven't picked it up yet." That's cool. White Boy Slim, cool. What you drinking? What you playing?
What I am drinking is a Guinness Generous Ale. I got a harp sampler pack. It had a bunch of different beers in there. I guess this is one of their seasonals, but it's pretty good. Kind of reminds me of like a red, less like a Guinness and more maybe like a Killian's or something like that. It's pretty good. As for what I've been playing, I already mentioned the games in the Games Club, but also I've been playing Minecraft a lot. One of my cousins set up a server for us and our kids, and then I even ended up getting my mom involved, and so we've all been playing Minecraft together on this server.
Awesome.
I picked up Majora's Mask for Game Boy and been trying that out. It's on the DS. The update is really nice. It looks really good, and it plays really well on the my 2DS. Let's see what else. And then Guild Wars 2. We already mentioned that. I think that was pretty much it. I played a little bit of Knights of the Old Republic 2 after we played the first one. I was really itching to play the second one, so I installed the restored content mod, but I haven't really found too much new stuff. There was only just like a couple little things I've noticed. I haven't got to the meat of the restored content yet, but I look forward to it. It's been fun.
Awesome. So start off with what I'm drinking. One of my friends left this New Belgium Fat Tire at the house, so it's pretty good. I quite like this one. It's nice. I as a self-professed cheapskate, I enjoy it when people leave free beer at my house. Like it's an open invitation for anyone to do that, as long as it's not tainted or something. Like, bring me free beer. I'm down. I'm not going to turn it away, unless it's something terrible like Budweiser. Then freaking forget it. I will go into the garbage. I will not drink that.
Well, you did say you wanted free beer.
It's really true. I guess it's true. I can qualify. Like, I wouldn't. Yeah, just after drinking like. Good. I don't even want to get. I don't want to offend anyone that loves domestics, but it's just not something I like. So what I've been playing, sort of like with what Script said. I really have been kind of getting to the point where I realize that my game library is growing faster than I can play any of the games in it, and it's kind of stressful for me. So I'm getting to a point now where it's like okay, do not buy a game if you're not going to play it within a week, and let's start playing the games you got because they're fun, you know. So I've been when I want to play a shooter, and that's fairly often actually, I'll be playing Far Cry 3, and that game is really really good. It's also really really dark, and so when I originally started playing it, I was kind of offended by some of, like, not offended, but I was kind of put off by this sort of frat boy beginning of the game. I thought, oh, is this how this game's going to be? Like, I don't know. I'm not really interested in this game. But what I found out later through having conversations with Script and White Boy Slim was the game's actually satire, and that's actually supposed to be that way at the beginning. You know, it's supposed to, like, throw these characters into this situation, and this character changes, and through the act of shooting people, which you really don't think about, doesn't typically change the main character over the story. In Far Cry 3, it significantly changes the main character in a very dark way. And I think the game, it's great in that it talks about how that would actually screw you up. You know what I mean? The game, like, there's this scene, and I don't want to spoil it too bad, so go la 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 for a second here, but there's a scene where you're basically interrogating your brother, and that's really rough. That was a really rough scene. And it's like, does the main character want to do this? Does he not want to do this? He seems to not, but he's really good at fucking people up, for lack of a better word. And so I think Far Cry 3 kind of got a little bit of a rough shake in the games media for being kind of what I initially thought it was. But I think that if you play through it and give it a chance to sort of suck you in with its super dark ways and satire that isn't funny, because there are obviously different kinds of satire. The game has something interesting to say about violence and sort of like revenge culture, I think, or revenge, like, you know, and stuff. And I think that's really interesting, and it's certainly really disturbing. So I think I've said that way too many times. But some other games that I've been playing too have been the original Legend of Zelda. My, that was incredible. I wrote about that on the site. That was really fun. It's a game you can beat in a handful of hours. It's super fun. And since I'd been playing a million times when White Boy Slim and I were kids, and we'd map out all the levels and we'd go through it together and blah blah blah, this and that, I had quite a lot of it memorized still, but still had to refer to a map for the last level. But it was super fun. And I've also been, and after that, I was like, you know, let's just get right into Ocarina of Time. So I've been playing that. That's been really fun too. It's been a good game. So, but most recently, what I've been sort of hyper focused on is Hearthstone, just released on phones, and it's so great on phones. And I never really wanted to play it so much on a PC, but it really shines on the phone, and I was up late last night, just in bed, just, you know, couldn't stop playing those matches. So thank you, Blizzard, for delivering crack directly onto the phone that I can snort. It's fun. I really like it. It's really good.
How long does a match typically last you?
So there are two different kinds of matches that I'm playing right now. One of them is I'm going through all the characters. I'm playing the practice matches, which is nice because then you can get a handle of the game, you can understand the different heroes, and then you can unlock some cards without having to buy them. So I'm going through that. And those matches, I'd say, last like maybe 15 minutes or something. Maybe that's long, I don't know. But and then you can play a match with a person, and I'd say those are actually shorter. Those are a little shorter. So casual matches have been fun. I think that one of the things we mentioned in the pre-show when we were just chatting is that with the amount of people now coming into Hearthstone, you get a lot more variety in terms of people that you're playing against in casual matches. So I found that instead of like a match of Dota where you go into it and you immediately get your ass kicked if you're just trying it, Hearthstone has so many players that it's a more varied experience. So I think that's actually pretty good too, because it's not fun to go into a game and get immediately creamed like 20 times in a row. It's nice to kind of have a little bit of a ramp up, play with people a little bit more to your skill level and stuff like that. Yeah, so that's really, it's been really, really fun. I've quite enjoyed Hearthstone on the phone. I think it'll get me to probably even play it on the PC more because I sort of dig it. So it's been really good. So, just sort of jumping into the first topic. Since the last roundtable, there have been some things that sort of have been around and kind of come up in gaming that we're kind of excited about. One of the things I wanted to talk about was Terraria 1.3. That I'm kind of a little unclear on the release date of that. It seems to be the biggest update they've ever done. Like, I'm just looking at it, and I thought 1.2 was the biggest. 1.3 looks like it's going to be the biggest yet. It's going to have Steam, like. I think it's going to have Steam trophies and then Steam Play where you can get it together with your friends and play, just in Steam and share the game that way. You had to set up a server before. Now, if you just want to play with your friends, you can just, click on Steam and do that. It seems to have like a boatload of new weapons, items, like Scott Lloyd Shelley's back for more music. Like, it all looks really great. White Boy Slim Script, was there anything you guys saw in the update that you're interested in for this one?
There was a vehicle they showcased in one of the earlier kind of like hype videos where you're riding in the vehicle and it has these little lasers that shoot out and help you drill. And I was thinking, like, that would be so nice for trying to find the higher tier ores and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Once you go into hard mode. Yeah, that thing looks like fun.
Yeah, there are a lot of really cool updates there. I'm really excited to see that one coming down the pipe.
Yeah, I need to actually play. I've barely set foot in that world, and so it's. I know you guys are all super into it, and we've got a server here.
Shun him.
Site, but it's cool. I mean, it looks cool. I think at the time other things were coming out, or I was in some sort of weird cultish transition or something. I don't know, but I just didn't get into Terraria, but it looks cool. I wouldn't mind.
Come join our cult of Terraria.
Right.
Well,
right.
I think when 1.3 drops, Travis and Greg and Tim and me are really hip to getting a new server rolling. So if you've got some time when the game drops and then we get on the server and you want to play with us, do it, because it's been some of the most fun playing with Cheerful Ghost that I've had in gaming in a while. Like the servers are a lot of fun because building things with your friends is great. I mean, it's just so much fun, and like, this is my house, this is your house, and we're house buddy, and we're right now. I know I sound like a weirdo, but it's super fun.
And then there was that time I wired up some statues in your house so that I would spawn bunnies every time you walked into your house.
Apparently that can happen in the game. Awesome. Terraria, anything's possible. Script, you had something about a new game.
Oh yeah, this has actually been announced for a while, and I think since the time that we were supposed to have our last show, the news came out. But I'm just excited about it anyway. The new Star Wars coinciding or coming out around the same time as Episode 7 or whatever they're calling what would be Episode 7. Super excited about the attention to detail that they're putting into that game, and I was always a big fan of Battlefront, and I'm really excited for that. Really excited for that. I'm hoping that it's that it does well and that they treat it with the level of really treating it with. So
yeah. So on my end here, it sounded like you're cutting out a little bit. But what Script was saying, maybe it was just on my end, but I'll just repeat some bit. Like, he was talking about Star Wars Battlefront. And the new game that EA is coming out with. And Script, I really hope that they treat it with respect and care too, because Star Wars is a special property that's really close to a lot of people, including all of us, you know what I mean? And it's going to make them a boatload of money if it's good, and I hope it doesn't seem like it's a cynical cash grab for them, because I'm watching these videos, and the videos I'm seeing, they're talking about going, like, they're able to go back to the LucasArts archives and hang out with the original stuff, and it's like, first off, I want to be them, so mad jealousy there.
Yeah.
But they seem to be approaching it in a good way, and I know there's a lot of community negative feelings towards to EA, and I think a lot of that's deserved. But I think I think they seem to be recently changing, you know. And if you look at a lot of the releases lately that have been kind of not great, they haven't been the company that have been doing any of them that I've noticed anyway. So they seem to be listening, and they seem to be putting out some pretty high quality stuff recently. The new Dragon Age Inquisition seemed to be really great. A lot of people reviewed that well.
Yeah.
So you know, I think it's in good hands. I mean, I think it might be in good hands.
As long as they don't do some crazy DRM BS that will, you know, bite them in the ass on, it should be, you know, it should be pretty good.
Yeah, I think that there's lots of data to show that people don't like to be hassled when they're playing their games. So, you know, especially people that are paying for a game. Yeah, I think you're right. Actually, now that I think about it, I think you're right. I mean, I think SimCity was a recent experience in DRM that really people hated it, you know. But if it's an online shooter, it's probably going to be, you know, online, you know, require that online connection or whatnot. But yeah, it looks great. I'm super stoked for that game too. All right, so one of the big things that happened, and we were going to talk about this right as it was happening. In fact, the show it was happening like days after this was announced, and then S hit the F for the next 50 years, and we couldn't have a show, and we were all like super stoked about this, and then we couldn't do it, and it was probably every week we had to bump the show. My heart just died a little bit more, but that's okay. You know, stuff like that happens. But Valve went to GDC this year, and they dropped a bunch of bombs on the entire gaming industry about some really great stuff, and so I want to talk about some of them. First things first, Valve is going. This is the final Steam controller. Wait, can you see that? You can't. Okay. First things first, this is the final Steam controller, and wow, is it pretty. That is a really pretty picture. So compared to the last time we saw this, like I think it's been through what, like this is maybe the third or fourth iteration that they've released pictures from. This one has the really big trackpad still. It's got it doesn't have the touchscreen anymore in the middle, and they added an analog thumbstick and those 4 buttons there. It's of course got the trigger and bumpers up top. Yeah, it looks really great. So, what are our thoughts on this one? Script, what do you got? What do you think about the new Steam controller? Because you're a guy that likes to play games at a couch, you know, console. You play a lot of shooters this way. You're fairly particular about your control schemes. What do you think about this?
I don't know. I think that it will probably maybe do some games really well. I guess I just have to get my hands on it. I'm sure that it would just take getting used to. I can't imagine it being, and not to say that it isn't, but in my imagination, I don't like aiming with touchpads, and so I just wonder how competitive you'd be using something like this against somebody that's using a keyboard and mouse in something like, say, you know, Counter-Strike or whatever. And that may be not what this controller is geared towards at all. Maybe it's just, you know, something to be a general purpose controller. I think that's kind of a shame, just with how popular first-person shooters are. And again, it could be fine with first-person shooters, but I don't know. I just don't know. I'd have to use it. Otherwise, it looks cool. I like that they have the touchpads, and that they've got at least one analog stick. The only other thing that really bugs me is and I know a lot of other people have mentioned this before, but it's the layout of the right analog touchpad in contrast with the buttons. Going down to press buttons is contradictory to every other controller out there.
Oh, that's a
So
good point. Actually, I haven't heard that one before.
it's
Interesting.
just
Yeah, I hadn't heard that, but I can see what you're saying because I'm looking at the the Xbox controller here, where you've got the buttons up here, and glancing over at my PlayStation controller, it's set up the same way.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, it could be cool. I'm sure it'll be. I mean, I'd probably be just as content using a 360 controller for first-person shooters, and if this happens to work better for other types of games that I'd want to play on the couch, like maybe Civ 5, then that would be cool. But I don't know. I guess I'd have to go to a friend's house that has one and try it out before I buy one.
That's not a bad idea. White Boy Slim, what do you think? New Steam controller.
I have my reservations
pretty.
about it too, mainly because I'm still kind of weirded out about the whole trackpad thing. My experience in the past with any kind of trackpad has not been great, but I really want to get my hands on one and try it, because if it works well, I think this could be really awesome. As it happens, there's a couple of games that we've been playing lately, like the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, and even Guild Wars 2. Like, I want to kind of play those games with a controller, especially the Star Wars ones. I originally played those on Xbox, and the control scheme on Xbox is a lot better than the keyboard and mouse controls they have in the PC versions, which I thought was kind of weird. And there's no native controller support for it. So it would be really nice to have a customizable controller that you could use for games that don't have built-in controller support. And to my knowledge, the Steam controllers are fully mappable, so even if the game doesn't have native support, you can basically map the button presses and stuff to the controller to make it work. Yeah, it's mainly just those trackpads. I really want to get my hands on them, try them out, see how they work. As long as they work, I think this is going to be a really awesome controller, and it looks fantastic.
Have either of you guys used any third-party software like Xpadder or whatever the other ones? I'm not familiar with the names of the other ones.
I actually have tried Xpadder
Yes, I have.
for the Star Wars games. I got so fed up with the keyboard, I installed it and tried using it, and it worked pretty well. The only bummer is just the way they have the controls set up for the PC versions of those Star Wars games. You just can't get the full. You can't mimic the Xbox controls perfectly. They just set the games up differently. Like the way you scroll through your attack options when you're choosing a target is different on the PC than it is on the Xbox, and you just can't really replicate that with a controller, unfortunately. Right. But yeah, no, I did try Xpadder, and I was really impressed with Xpadder. Unfortunately, it didn't work so well with the game I was trying to use it for.
Yeah, I've used Joy to Keep before, and I played it with a few games that at the time didn't have controller support, like Anodyne. It was added later, or like the demo of what was it, Hammerwatch, that we got when we were reviewing it originally before it was out. And again, I used Joy to Key, but those games added support for the controllers later, which is really good because Anodyne needs controller support, because it's like a Zelda, sort of game, and then Hammerwatch because it's like Gauntlet or whatever, So and that worked pretty well for those games, but I haven't really done it a whole lot because most games kind of support it natively. But so I want to talk a little bit about the Steam controller too. I think what Valve is doing here is designing a controller to work for all the games on Steam, right? And if you think about all the games on your couch, and if you think about all the games on Steam, the majority of them aren't shooters, and the majority of and some of the games are really kind of weird, So they're designing a controller which is basically maybe not the greatest solution for shooters, which is a really focused kind of game set, and work pretty well with shooters, but works really good broadly and works really well with a lot of different kinds of games. For instance, when they were demoing the Steam controller, they originally demoed it with what was it? Papers, Please, which is a really interesting choice because Papers, Please is a mouse game, but it looked like it wasn't too hard to control it with the Steam controller. So I think when you're looking at it, when sort of, and I wasn't privy to Valve's discussions, but it looks like if they're trying to say, okay, look, let's design a controller that can work with Steam games on the couch, and a lot of games are never going to have controller support. This seems like a pretty good approach to that. So, and plus it's totally moddable, and you can change it and stuff like that, which no controller lets you do. The Xbox controller, which I would say currently is the gold standard for PC gaming, the Xbox 360 controller, they don't even release proper ports for Mac or Linux, right? You can only plug it in the PC and it works there fine. So, it's like community folks that release those drivers. So one of the nice things about this controller too is it's supported on all the platforms, and Valve has it just kind of acting like a mouse. Those two pads just kind of act like a mouse, so it'll work basically anywhere using Bluetooth. So we're getting like a controller that's sort of general purpose, pretty focused, for gaming, couch gaming, but has these open, sort of like openish hardware. Allows for modding, you change the firmware, etc. So that's pretty good. But yeah, I'm with you, Script. I don't know if it's going to be the world's greatest shooter controller. Maybe we'll just have to plug the Xbox controller in for those games. But I kind of like the direction Steam's going because I think it's pretty cool.
Like 2D platformers, like like Super Meat Boy or something like that. Do you think that controller would? Because I can't play 2D. I mean, I really don't like playing 2D platformers with an analog stick. I have to use a D-pad.
Yeah.
Just for that more precise movement.
Right.
And if you're using that left touchpad mapped as D-pad, that's a huge D-pad.
I really hope
wonder
it works
how it would.
So I really hope that works. Currently, when I play on my Xbox 360 controller and I have to use the analog stick for a directional game, it's not great. I'll admit it's not great. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, it probably would be okay, and you could probably eventually beat Meat Boy that way. But would it be the greatest? I don't know. Probably. I don't know. We'll have to see. It looks like if you could rock the control. I don't know. We'll have to see. Apparently the controller's touch sensitive and also has click to it as well. So depending on how that works, maybe. Okay. It also has haptic feedback.
I'd be interested in hearing what our bountiful audience has to say about what are you guys using as, if you're using a controller on the PC, what's your setup? What software are you using? What hardware are you using? And what are your experiences with it? I'd be really interested to know because like I said, I use my 360 controller. I've thought about trying to hook up my PS4 controller, but the little research I've done, it sounds like it's kind of iffy. Not ideal, and kind of like you said, John, the 360. If you're going to use a controller on the PC, that's the one to use. So yeah, I don't know. I'd be curious to hear what everybody else thought, though.
Yeah, good point. I think
click in the comments.
Yeah, click in the exactly. Let us know what you do. So moving on, I think that we finally have a list of Steam machines, and they're coming out in November. I'm going to share with everyone I'll share this on my screen just so everyone doesn't think that it's not real. Here we are. This is the Steam machines. You've got, starting out, of course, Valve is highlighting their, I believe this is the one that they like the most, of course, because it's at the top, and they've talked about this one, the Alienware Steam machine, and then you get into some really, really interesting stuff here. This one, Falcom Northwest Tiki, ends up at $5,000. Thank you, God, for that. I think that's incredible. Well, okay, so a lot of people say, oh, that's a lot of money. Well, yeah, it is. But one of the cool things about the PC marketplace is you've got choice, and one of the choices is, I bet this computer is badass as hell. We can talk about value, but I bet it's a badass system. Anyway, so
I would like to just see one in action.
hold on a sec. I want to totally see what this is. Okay, what is that? What is this max out at? Okay, here we go. Let's check this out. Okay, it's 5,000. Okay, i7 4. Okay, that's a pretty good CPU.
The thing's only 4 inches wide.
Okay, that's what's blowing this price out. It's a Titan Z NVIDIA GPU. Okay, up to 16 gigs. It's not a ton. It's pretty fast there. 8 terabytes of SSD. Oh my God.
SSD. Well, there you go.
Oh my God, that's incredible. Okay, liquid cooled in the freaking box. Crazy. 40% smaller than our frag box. Well, that's incredible. Like, people can buy that. That's great.
So it's just a ridiculous amount of stuff packed into a really tiny box.
See, I don't think it's that small. Let's look at a picture. No, dude, this is a PC, man.
It said it was only 4 inches wide, though.
No, that's not
thin.
Wait. Hold on a second. No, that's not what they said. I thought it was. Let me look. Hold on, I gotta read this. Oh yeah, I thought that was it. Okay, I guess I should read next time. That it's like a very small PC.
Yeah, it looks about the size of a Xbox 360.
Yeah. Look at that. That's really pretty. Oh, look, you can even get it in a red. Oh, it comes in all different. Well, for $5,000, it better be on fire. Oh, wow, that's crazy. Now, this is cool. I really like that Steam is letting anyone make a system like this. And yeah, maybe I'm not going to buy like the $5,000 one, but some people will, and I'm sure they'll love it. So that's cool. Huh. So anyways, here are the new Steam machines. We could be looking at this. I'm looking at specs for hours. But so the new Steam machines are out, and they're coming out in November. Yay! That's like a date. Woo. It's happening. It's not too far away. I'm just curious. So, is the news good enough for us to get one? White Boy Slim, are you going to get a Steam machine? And Pia, like, is it going to be the $5,000 one? That's the question.
It will definitely not be the $5,000 one.
Boo! Boo!
As of right now, I'm not planning on like pre-purchasing one right away, just because I don't really need to. But when I'm ready to start sticking a computer under my TV, I'm going to seriously consider one of the cheaper ones. Probably like that Alienware one. It's really pretty affordable, and I'm sure that would run, all the games that I need it to. I don't really buy a whole lot of the really high-end, really expensive games. So, but yeah, no, just probably not going to buy one right now, just because I'm not really in the market for a new computer or for setting up anything as like, with my TV or anything. But no, I probably will get one in the future.
Script, new Steam machine, going under the old TV, going for the Falcon Tiki $5,000 option, bling bling rocket ship.
Yeah, I'm gonna get 2 of them actually, and I'm actually gonna cherry pick the engine out of my car and just put those in there. And put LED screens in my dashboard and just stick it in the garage, and that'll be my gaming system. No, I am not going to get one, mostly because I couldn't afford one right now. But if I were to get one, I don't know if we were going to talk about it or if it was just something else, but the Steam Link.
Oh, yeah, right. That's true. They're doing the Steam Link, too. So, yeah, right, a little bit of history on that. Steam Link is going to be like a $50 streaming console that'll allow you to do Steam in the living room, but you just stream all the games from your PC, right?
Yeah, kind of like a...
That I probably will pick up, because that sounds awesome.
Yeah, kind of like a...
I think it's $100 for like the Link and the controller, the Steam controller, so it's not too bad.
No. Yeah, I would do something like that. Something that I could use with my existing system rather than replace my existing system. Um, yeah, that I could see doing, but yeah, I don't know. I think if I put any more money towards gaming PC right now, I'd just upgrade maybe my video card, and then just keep rolling with the machine I have. Um, not not gonna do it. Not gonna not gonna do it.
No, I think a lot of people are kind of
But
with
they look
you.
cool.
Oh yeah, they definitely do, and I think a lot of people are with you guys there on that. I think that a lot of people are either going to do the Steam Link or they're going to wait. You know, they might get the Steam controller depending on how that reviews or whatever, and how that plays or whatever. And I think that's fine because I think we're entering a level where it's like, okay, well, you know, we haven't really seen this before. You know, we've only seen companies release like a console system. So I think there are a lot of questions in people's minds about like, okay, well, how does this? Is this going to be good? Is it going to be weird? Is this even useful? You know, and I think those are all, you know, valid questions or whatever. For me, though, I've been thinking about this a lot. I've been thinking about it a bunch. And yeah, I'm going to pick up a Steam machine and it's going to go under my television. And the reason why is because I haven't gotten into the next generation of console. I know a lot of people have already picked up their Xbox One and PlayStation 4, so I think for a lot of people, maybe they're like, you know, it's just not time for me to get a new system. I already got my PS4 and then my Xbox One and stuff. But for me, I haven't, right? So this is my Xbox One or PS4. I've been waiting for this, so I'm ready to roll. I'm not entirely sure which one I'm going to get yet. I'm fairly certain it might be the Alienware, but that Zotac. Here, I'll share it again so you guys can see what I'm talking about, because I'm pretty sure I read this page 50 times a day, more than most people. But so the Alienware, okay, so first off is I want a system that size-wise is a proper console under the television, right? I don't want to get a leaf blower under my television. No one wants that, right? The PlayStation 3 was a great system, but gee darn it, is it loud when it plays games, and I do not want to go back to that. So the Alienware is kind of low power, low footprint, actually. There's a lot of bit of power there, so that's a good option. The other one I'm looking at is the Zotac. Now, the Zotac starts out at $1,000. Now, I know that's a F load of money, but if you consider that the majority of the money you spend on a console is games, and I have all of my games already, that's not like I did like a little spreadsheet back when I bought my Wii, and by the time I was done, and I didn't spend crazy amounts of money. I didn't buy a ton of games or whatever, but I think by the end of it, I sunk like $850 into the system by buying, like, you know, controllers and, you know, a few games here and there and stuff like that. So really, like, when you look at the end of your console, you by the time that you're done, you spent a lot of money on it. So I don't mind maybe throwing down a bit more for the hardware if all the games I've already got. You know what I mean? So
Makes
so
sense.
if you look at this system, it's really kind of cool. Like, the front's cool. It's got like USB 3 on it. Like, this is pretty much like a premium Steam experience. Like, this I don't need, like, look at the back of this. It's got like dual HDMI. Like, it's got 4 HDMI ports, and it can do 4K. Like, this is disgusting. I don't need any of that. I just like the form factor and how much horsepower it's got by default. You know what I mean? It's got some really great specs. NVIDIA 960M. It does 4K, which is, wow, I don't even have a TV. That dual gigabit. So my only question about this system isn't like, you know, can this play games? Yeah. It's more like, does it have like a wireless card in it? Because it doesn't say. So you know, I really hope it comes with one. But this system looks pretty good, because one of the things about the Alienware is that $479 is a really great starting price, but it's not the most powerful machine, you know, at $479. So the Zotac is like, this is gonna be good, you know. It's gonna have a lot of so I'm not entirely sure. Maybe I'll go with something a little bit cheaper. Maybe I'll go with the Zotac. I don't really know. If I go with the Zotac, my wife will probably divorce me. But you know, if I smile well, it'll probably be okay. But you know, that's what it is. So I'm basically 100% sure I'm going to get one. I'm just kind of making a decision about, okay, which one, do I want to roll with? But yeah, it's going to be good.
Can I play devil's advocate for a second?
Please do. I'd love that.
You made an interesting statement that you were gonna the cost of what most people spend on consoles is mostly in the games.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I
think so.
Since yeah, and I think I would agree with that. There's definitely more spent on games in the life cycle of a console. But with the Steam machine, you just spend money to play games that you already have. So would there, I guess, for me, rationalizing just getting a better computer, I guess, is if you're looking to get a new computer, then I guess a Steam machine would be the way to go. But if you're just looking to play Steam games and you've already got a computer that plays Steam games, why wouldn't you instead opt for like a home console that already exists, like an Xbox One or a PS4, that has games on it that you can't get on Steam, like Bloodborne or Destiny or Uncharted or any of these other games? Is there a time when maybe you would think, oh, I'll get around to getting a PS4, or maybe you don't care about home console type games at all anyway? So has that conversation happened in your head, or are you just like it's all about the Valve, baby?
So I think those are really, really great points. I've actually thought a bit about this. I think, yeah. So thanks for bringing that up. I really enjoyed talking about that. But I think that one of the things. So for me, it's kind of about, like, in a way, it's about choices and where I didn't love ending up at the end of like a PlayStation 3 or Wii life cycle. So I didn't love at the end of the PlayStation 3 life cycle sinking money on some super awesome games and then realizing that if I wanted to continue on with the PlayStation 4, you're fucked, right? In that, you can't play them on the next system, right? And so when backwards compatibility was kind of the thing that we were kind of getting used to, And I know that I always have my PlayStation 3 and I could just switch over there on my HDMI port, but the thought of increasing my amount of systems under my television to just play games I wanted to play, I don't love that idea. I really don't. So for me, what I want to do is streamline my gaming experience so that I don't have... First off, I don't want 50 game machines under my TV. I'd like one, honestly, if I could. But I'm okay with 2 or whatever. That's probably okay. But so Steam games, there are lots of them, and you get a lot of ports on them. So there's a lot of games there. Am I okay with not playing some games that maybe is PS4 exclusives or whatever, or games like GTA 5 where it comes to consoles exclusively and then it comes to PC eventually? Like, am I okay with that world? Yeah, I'm okay with waiting. I actually am. So for me, it's like I was kind of tired of that sort of like, well, time to toss this hardware, time to toss these games out, and move on to the next thing, which is kind of what Sony and Microsoft and are offering. Nintendo's a little different. They seem to always offer a little bit of backwards compatibility there, which I think really is kind of neat. So yeah, now I think you bring up a good point, which is like, look, these are all PC games. Just play them on your stupid PC. You have it. Why are you going to spend $1,000 to play PC games? I think that's a really good point. For me, I think that putting a piece of hardware in the living room that doesn't just stream things means that I can start setting things up. It's kind of convenience, which is to say that whenever because I do stream Steam games right now to my computer, and what I do right now to my TV, and what I do right now is I plug in my laptop, I plug in the controller, I set Steam up, and then I load the game, and then in the new thing I have to change the resolution because it's a 4K resolution. I have to change down to 1080 or whatever, and then I have to change it to controller mode, and that's a pain. It's kind of annoying. Every time people stream a game, you're going to have to do the same thing, right, with the Steam Link, which is going to be kind of annoying. Not to say it's going to be impossible or you're going to hate it, but what I'd like is a system where I can install the game, most games, and the configuration is ready to roll. You know what I mean? And the Steam box is going to be there. It's going to sync my saves. It'll sync it to my PC. And then when I sit down on my PC, I've got the PC experience. And when I sit down on my Steam console, I've got my Steam console experience. And it's ready to roll. I don't have to change settings. I don't have to futz with things. Because honestly, one of the things I really, and I think a lot of people understand this if you like have Netflix or whatever, Netflix offers you experience where you sit down, you pick the movie, you press play, and you watch it. And it's great. Blu-ray is a little different. You sit down, you pick the movie, you put in the Blu-ray, you wait 50 years before it loads, you deal with 50,000 commercials you don't want to watch, you have to deal with a menu that you may or may not understand how to play, and then you watch the movie. Yay, movie. So for me, it's just kind of an experience thing. And I know that that translates to spending more money. But if you consider what the hardware is, which is a PC that runs Linux, which is open, and I can reuse it in my house, I think for me the value is a little bit higher because it means that when you're done with your PlayStation 3, you have a PlayStation 3, right? But when you're done with your Steam machine, you've got a computer, right? That you can do whatever with, you know. And I think that for me increases the value a bit. And I think for some other people it decreases the value because like it's just a PC, just you know what I mean. But you know, maybe, you know, so that's kind of how I look at that. But I totally see what you mean, like play your computer games, play your console games. But for me, I don't love exclusives, and I'm okay with living in a world where I don't get to play certain kinds of games. Like I'd love to play Destiny, and I think eventually it will come to PC. I really do. So I'll play it then, and I'm okay with waiting, you know, and that's okay. So that's kind of how I look at that. It's kind of a long-winded answer, but
that was good. I like the. I mean, I agree with most of that. It's the end of a console, and then have a box that you game invested a lot of money to build this library. I did that with every console that I've had, and I still have them all, but often they just sit there, you know. And if I want to, oftentimes I just sit and dream about playing that game, and then I go play something else. So I get that. Steam, for the most part, I mean, as long as the games are compatible with the operating system, then you've got an infinity. Really nice to just be able to pick up games that were made 1984 and still be able to play them on your computer. Wait for somebody to port it to your console and then pay $15 for it again in order to play it. So I appreciate that, definitely. I like the exclusives. I don't like the exclusives, and like I'm really anxious to play Bloodborne, even though I haven't got it yet. And there is a likelihood that it'll come to PC next year. All the other, you know, come to PC. So there's hope. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, I think with Bloodborne exclusive, and sorry, I lost you a little bit there, your robot voicing a bit, but I think that, yeah, I agree. I mean, I think games eventually, yeah, internet connection, damn you, internet. But I think that Bloodborne will come to PC, actually, eventually, because all the other Dark Souls and Demon Souls games, there may be some quirks importing those games, but I think that they'll come too. One of the games that I'm really hoping gets ported is Red Dead Redemption, because I haven't played that yet, and you know, I've kind of moved to the PC, and I really hope that comes to PC. That would be super. And Grand Theft Auto 5 came, people dig it, so hopefully there's hope. And in fact, with the Grand Theft Auto 5 port, you know, Greg's been playing that, and a lot of people, it's like a 60 frames per second experience. You can play it in 4K. They increased the textures on that game. Yay, you know. So that's really good. And hopefully with Steam machines and when games are ported to SteamOS, Valve can keep their operating system tuned such that old games don't break. And I trust that they're probably going to be able to do that. So if the game gets ported to Linux, outside of any weird driver issues with new hardware, they can control the hardware and the operating system and the libraries and such that hopefully they can keep compatibility rolling. And one of the really nice things about Steam is, for the most part, if a developer is going to update their game, they're going to keep it updated on Steam and not, go back and add patches to a PlayStation 3 port, which costs them $40 bazillion to get out. It's going to pay money to do that. So,
yeah. Building an OS on Linux and having, Valve having their own OS, that's two really, really good reasons alone to invest in a Steam environment, just because they do. I mean, Microsoft doesn't really have a vested interest in keeping PCs compatible with older games, whereas Valve has a very strong economy riding on it. That's it right there. That's what I'm excited about.
Yeah, very much. I think Microsoft's just finally circling back to PC now as a, gaming on PC. And now they're talking about, when you get an Xbox 360 game, you should be able to play it on your PC. I'm like, really? Well, welcome to 2015, guys, because I agree, and I can do that in November. So good luck with that. I agree, you should be able to buy Titanfall and play it on your console and your PC. I agree. Good luck. Good luck. And they're probably the only other company that could do it. I mean, Steam does it. You can play games on Mac, Linux, Windows, and then they're going to do SteamOS. Not a lot of other companies can really do that. I mean, I guess Apple could, I think what we're going to see now with the new Apple TV that they're rumoring is you're going to see games that you can play on your phone and that show up on your Apple TV. So I think, and Apple's going to probably have a controller that comes out too, so we'll be talking about that. So I don't think the idea of playing a game in one context and then it's the same game in a different context, in a different, on your TV is a thing that only Steam's going to, Valve's going to be doing. I think Microsoft's looking into doing it with their Windows phone and, their tablet system and all that, and that Apple's going to be doing it too. So it'll be really interesting to see that. So Valve also dropped a new news on a new VR product. I'm curious what we think about this. Is it a good idea or a fun tech demo? Just curious what y'all think of that.
I'm really hoping this will be some, real solid competition to the Oculus Rift. I know a lot of us were not thrilled when Facebook bought up Oculus. We have yet to see if that's going to be ultimately a bad decision or not. I'm sure it was a good decision for Oculus. But nevertheless, I'm really glad that there's an alternative out there now. I know Sony was working on something, but you know it's going to be probably locked in to the PlayStation and not, for the PC. So yeah, I'm really glad to see that Valve is releasing something for the PC market, that can directly compete with the other VR system, the other big VR system that's out there.
Yeah, I think Oculus is definitely the current reigning champion, although I don't know what that means considering VR is still so early and so few people have it, but they have a lot of the first mover advantage. Anyways, this is Valve's headset prototype that they were showing off on GDC and a few other conferences this year. It's like I say, it's a conjunction with HTC. They're doing the hardware, and Valve's working with them on the tech. Well, actually, they're both sort of working on it, but HTC is a really great company that does really great hardware. So those little bumps on there, those are sort of sensors, and basically what those do is you put these you put sort of sensors in a room, and then when you move around, this headset detects those so that it knows accurate movement. One of the really great things about this that Oculus is having to deal with, or other VR headsets are having to deal with, is people getting nauseous. Well, one of the reasons why is because basically Oculus throws a phone, an Android phone, in the thing, and then it uses motion sensors to detect movement. Well, that's not 100% great all the time. Now, their motion sensors is getting tons better, but people are getting kind of sick, et cetera, et cetera. Well, one of the things that this solves, and Valve had a really unique solution to this, which is exactly what we see here, which it solves it by actually tracking in space. Now, it's probably a little bit harder to get in your room and throw little sensors all over it, but the experience is way more seamless, and from what I heard in a lot of articles I read, Valve's demos blew people's minds out of their pants. So, Script, what do you think about Valve Plush HTC? Does that equal cool or equal, I don't know, Duke Nukem Forever maybe?
I don't know. As long as it blows my mind out of my pants, I'm in. It looks cool. I've never been interested in VR, but I know that there's been a lot of buzz around Oculus and what they've done and the tech demos that I've seen. And I know that's a horrible way to experience it, but from what I've seen, it seems cool. So this, yeah, I mean, as long as it's affordable and not entirely gimmicky, then I'm on board. I'd check it out.
Awesome. Yeah, I sort of agree with you. I mean, it's going to be made or broken by content. Although I think that one thing that seems pretty good at is getting people to drop some content out. You know, they've got a pretty great store, which I think is going to be a real challenge with Oculus, right? Because they're trying to build their own store, and Steam's there. It's like, well, you know, so they're coming into it. No, so I tried the Oculus Rift at a Portland Indie Game Squad event. These people made a really, really fun demo out of a game jam. Well, it is Game Jam game. And it was one of the most magical experiences I've had in gaming. I was giddy. It was like, it was so awesome. And all the game was, and I don't mean to knock it because it was really cool. It was like this Tron graphics, and I was sitting in a chair. That was my character, was sitting in a chair, and I could look down, and when I looked down, my hand came up, and it showed me like a shape. And then I looked up, and there were 3 shapes. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening? And like stars are going off, and I'm in this really crazy VR, and it's so incredible. And I'm just like, wow, this is it's like crazy. It was incredible just being there and experiencing it and hearing the music, and everything. It was really, really magical. And so I eventually, like, there's no directions. I didn't give you any directions or anything. And eventually I figured out that you're supposed to look at the shape in your hand. And when you look at the shape that's in your hand, fireworks go off. And it was so much fun. I just played this game for like 5 minutes just trying to figure it out, and I figured it out, and I felt like I was a genius, you know, because it was just great. It was really fun, and the game was great. And so, you know, if Valve can recreate that amount of magic, and it seemed for most reviewers that they absolutely did, I think we're in for a treat. Now, one of the net downfalls to this system is it's corded up to a PC, which the Oculus is now too. So HTC's and Valve's system, you kind of want to walk around because it's that great, you know. So they've got a trick, which is figuring out how they're going to maybe drop the wires or something like that. That said, you know, from my experience of just even a small game jam game, I was extremely happy. One of the things that would be really great is if the next Cheerful Ghost Roundtable, we put on our glasses, you know what I mean, and we're all together in a room, you know, looking at shapes together or something like, you know, or playing a game or whatever. That'd be really fun. So I think that it makes sense for a company like Facebook to get into the Oculus because of just it being a place where they can connect people together. It seems like a next step for them to do that. And so I wasn't really bummed out by the news because it kind of seemed like that made sense. And one of my friends is like, yeah, step 1, VR goggles. Step 2, jacking your vision, you know, like putting your vision into, you know, the computer or getting, you know, like implants, you know, which freaks me the shit out. I don't know if I'm interested in that. Maybe I'll be one of the only old people without putting computer implants in my brain. But
I don't know, man. Just jack me into the Matrix.
I don't know, man. You look at the Matrix and you watch it now, and I look at him and that one scene where it's that scene where he's putting his hands behind his neck and he's touching the the thing, and for the first time, and it freaks him the shit out. And I look at how it's got those things that are in his skin, and I'm like, how does that not itch like a motherfucker? Like, how does that not like irritate your skin? It's a metal implanted in it.
I'm sure they have. I'm sure they have better lotion in the future. So.
I demand the Wachowskis explain this to me.
But then again, I used to have several piercings, so I willingly put metal in my body, And, I mean, granted, I've taken those all out now, but.
So you're okay, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Okay, well, I guess someday you're just like, metal in my skin. P.S. If there are implants in your skin.
I had to take out some for work, others just over time. I got tired of them snagging on stuff. So, yeah.
I'm going to let the Cheerful Ghost Roundtable audience figure out what he's talking about. All right.
Everything was above the belt. I
have a friend that did a below the belt one, and it's an interesting story that I don't.
Yikes.
It's kind of hey, look, you gotta live once, right? You only live once, right? So, no, that's true. Well, maybe for people like Script that live more than once. So, anything you guys want to talk about in the Valve bag of fun that they sort of brought on the world? I know it was a while ago. Like White Boy Slim said, it's sort of in the pre-game show.
It's a retro news now.
Yeah, we're a retro news show. So we're going to talk about stuff from. We're going to talk about the rumored Super Nintendo CD attachment that Sony's making. We're really excited about that. Is that really going to extend the life cycle of our Super Nintendos?
I'd really like to talk about Apple getting into the phone market. I mean, that sounds like that could be important,
Obviously, that's going to be a mistake. I need my buttons. Touch is dead. It's a dead technology. BlackBerry will crush them.
Napster is great, man.
The future.
I think Napster is going to win. What I think is going to happen is record companies are going to see that this is the future digital music, and they're going to be on board, and what they're actually going to be doing eventually is using Napster to sell their music instead of, and they're going to work with them. I think that they understand the value of digital music.
See, these are all things that we could do in the Matrix, so...
There you go. Jack the Dude.
It's really true. Well, I want to thank everyone for joining us on this episode of the Cheerful Ghost Roundtable. The Cheerful Ghost Roundtable is an open discussion with people from the Cheerful Ghost community about awesome stuff in video games, brought to you by cheerfulghost.com, and we wrap up the show talking to people about where they can find us online. White Boy Slim, where can people find you online?
You can find me at cheerfulghost.com/whiteboyslim or on Twitter @whiteboyslim.
Master Script, where you at?
I'm on... Come and find me on Steam. I'm Script on Steam, or on the site cheerfulghost.com/script. And before we go, I wanted to plug one thing that I didn't plug earlier, and I'll plug it, but just mention it because maybe people aren't aware. There's a movie coming out this year, and it is called Ready Player One, and it's based on a book by Ernest Cline, and it's a fantastic book. It's all, if you're a nerd at all, you have to read this book. It's just brilliant. There's so much retro goodness in it. It's a brilliant Willy Wonka Matrix mix of good things. And they announced that the movie was being made, and a week ago, Steven Spielberg is going to be directing. So, so excited about this.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard about that.
Hear that. Yeah, I've heard Spielberg's done some okay stuff, so maybe he'll do it right.
Maybe. You never know. But, read the book. It's I think it's actually on, I don't know if it's on sale. It was on sale last week, Kindle, in the Kindle store for $3. So check it out. If you're looking for a really good just book to geek out on, it's an excellent book. And I can't wait to see what they do with the movie. So, anyway.
And, of course, Steven Spielberg is well known as the producer of Animaniacs. So, he's going to be good with this,
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be amazing.
He also did, one of my most favorite movies of all time, Jaws. Oh, well, it's not he did, a million. Yeah, okay, everyone knows what he did. He's great. Yeah. So Steven Spielberg, he started with Duel back in the 70s. Anyways, okay.
Oh, geez, look at the time.
Exactly. So yeah, my name's John, and you can find me at Cheerful Ghost /JDotson or Twitter at JDotson. Like Script, you can find me on Steam, but you're gonna have to figure out how to find it in a different way, because I'm not gonna tell you. I'm not gonna tell you. There might be a website out there that tells you about where to find me on Steam, but I wouldn't know. Maybe I told you a website earlier tonight where you can find me on Steam, but I don't know. Maybe I didn't.
What is it? At Happy Spectre? Is that it, right?
Don't go there. It's a bad site. Anyways, thanks for hanging out with us for the Cheerful Ghost Roundtable. We'll check you out for the next show.
Peace.